Hi, I'm Byron, assistant men's volleyball coach at Ohio State University. We're going to talk about some blocking today. We've got 6 players that we're going to demonstrate. We're going to talk about some ready position. We're going to talk about some individual movement and some partner movement, and we're going to get into blocking some balls. Okay, hey, the first thing we're going to talk about is ready position with all 3 players. As we look at a ready position, we want them relatively bunched in the center of the court. We're going to take away the center of the court first as opposed to the outsides of the court, because the ball is going to be passed up through the center. The ready position, we can get in a good ready position. Our hands are up about forehead height. Knees are flexed. If we want to put our weight slightly on the center of the middle of our toes, that would be great. Maybe even bring your toes in a little bit, especially for middle blockers. So we're ready to move laterally and push off the insides of our feet. From a ready position, that's a general neutral ready position. If we were to have a quick attacker, Sean, just stand right here, and we have a good pass, and there's a middle blocker, just kind of walk a front one. He walks a front one. The thing that we'd like to do is we'd like the ready position to change from a hands neutral position to a hands high position. Sean, come on back. We good? Okay, so we're in a good ready position here with our hands. As it's a perfect pass, we have a perfect pass, and we have a quick attacker in that zone, our hands naturally go higher. Our ready position for the non-quick player, your hands will stay the same. Sean backs up. Our ready position, normal. If we have a bad pass, I'm the setter, it takes me out of system. We're going to let them take their hands from a ready position, and we say hands to your heart, and their feet are going to go a little bit wider. So now, hands in a ready position. Perfect pass. Quick comes in here. Hands go up higher. Go back, run a gap. We go 31, hands go up higher. The non-quick blocker is just going to hold his regular position. He can't release because we still have to block what we call a bick and something overhead. So he's still got 2 options where he becomes a read blocker. Right? Actually, Sean, thanks. Hey, we're in a good neutral ready position. We're going to talk about blocking like you're going to block a go. You're going to just shuffle and shoot your hands. No. Yeah, just make a pout now. You guys can put your hands down and chill out here. Okay, we have 1 pin blocker. The ball that's set out there, there's 2 different types of moves we can make. If it's going to be a fast set where he has to move quickly and get across the net and block a quick hitter, we want him to make a short, fast move, so we call it a shuffle and a shoot. Just shuffle. Shuffle, and he shoots his hands across the net. Come on back. Maybe even just 1 power shuffle and shoot. That it's outside foot, inside foot. And his hands go across quick. The second move, if he has more time and we're not looking at a fast attack, the setter comes out here and it's more of a higher ball, his goal is to try and stuff block that ball. We're trying to score points and drive the ball to the floor. So then his feet go in the opposite direction where it's inside foot, outside foot. He crosses over and drives across the net. Show one of those. And then come on back. You're going to go a couple here. As he does these, if you watch his feet are inside foot, outside foot. Now, with his ready position, one thing that we can do is take your inside foot and outside foot and kind of go a little heel-toe relationship. So that way he can cross his foot over without having to go all the way around in that direction. That it's here and it can go straight across. If he has to come back to the center, he's still going to push and come back, hands up like you're going to block a bick. Just shuffle and then shoot for a bick. He's already in that position. Can you do another couple crossovers? With the crossover move, a couple things that we're looking for is his hips turn, he faces, let me take over, he's here, he faces the sideline, comes back to square, and drives his hands across the net. He's landing in roughly the same spot where he took off from. Do a couple more. All right? Okay. As we're looking at a crossover, we want his arms to be short. We don't want him to swing his arms, because if you swing your arms, just swing your arms back here, like this, hopefully we have a middle blocker that's going, and we don't want them getting jammed up and slowed down. So we want him to elbow drive with his arms. Just keep your elbows in tight. Good elbow drive and push. Do one more. That his elbows are short, and he's driving and generating that force with his torso, and he jumps and pushes across the net. Each time he jumps, and alternate, we want him to put his elbows on top of the net and reach across the net. Andrew, go ahead. The finish with their hands, we want their hands and fingers pointing to the ceiling. So they lead with the heels of their hands, and you can see Michael's got his fingers down this way. We're going to lose digits that way. You're taller with your hands up here. You're going to add 1 to 2 inches if your hands are up. So his hands lead across the net with the heels of your hands. Andrew, one more each. And Michael, fingers up. There you go. That's better. Now, in both case scenarios, we can cross over against a team that's in system on a fast play, but that takes some time to get out there. It might just be a shuffle with your partner. We might have them spread out a little bit. If we're facing a team that's setting a very fast ball, it might just be a shuffle. And it's more of an individual basis. Some guys cross over faster than others, shuffle faster. The idea is that when they finish, their hands are on the other side of the net. 1 inch across the net takes care of 3 feet of sideline space in the back row. So even if they can only jump at the height I jump at, which is below the net, if I can get 1 inch across the net, I'm still taking away more court. We're not worried about guys going over the top of the block. We're worried about not being square and facing and landing out of bounds. Both guys stopped in bounds. Now we're gonna add a middle blocker, and you can cross over, Nick. Just you call it and go. That we'd like the middle, and then have you guys go, and just kind of alternate. Let's not go too fast though. With the middle blocker, we're going to add a third step. Go ahead, just kind of wait a second and then go. That it's a kick and then a crossover. That now you'll watch Sean's inside foot. Go ahead, go. Inside foot, crossover. We'd like him to get hip to hip. Go ahead. Freeze right there. We'd like him to get hip to hip. Grayson, what we call over-rotated a little bit, that he landed facing where he came from. We'd like him to land facing the net. Let's go again. And at the time they jump, it's not necessarily about where they finish, but their space is relatively the same. Go ahead, you two guys are up. Stop. Their space is here. As they move, we'd like that space to be the same all the way across. It's not a race. It's like they're attached with a string, and the string doesn't expand. It's not a rubber band. It's a string. As Chen goes, Sean follows them, and they both move at the same pace together as they go and block. Ready? Go. And they land, and it's the same space at the finish that it was in the start. One more. I think the next thing that we're going to look at is the finish with their hands. We'd like their hands to be in a rectangle. That it's not, can you block? Gray, you reach in, and Gibby, you reach in. So it's going to be like a triangle. You watch the difference in this one? That they both reach in, and the block looks like a triangle. We don't want a pyramid block. We want it to be a square block. One more time. Go square. That their hands are taking away some space. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make some 3-man moves going that way. As we block with 3 players, the setter comes off the net. I'm looking to send the ball out there. 2 things are going to happen. You'll see the guys break down. Their feet will go wider, hands to their heart, and they'll all 3 go this way. The third guy is going to probably take 2 shuffles. That it'll be shuffle, shuffle, and then he crosses over. This guy we talked about, the middle blocker, is 1 step and then a crossover. The outside guy is probably a little bit of a spread and then a crossover. All right? You're going to block like a hut. So, bad pass, break down, and go. And then next 3 guys, you're up. Ready? Okay, next 3. Hey, let's break down first. So, bad pass, break down, and go. Now, some of it takes some time as they're getting used to working together and playing. and moving together, that some of those spaces that we talked about with two guys have now started to open up and get smaller and bigger, and that just is a change of acceleration, and that's where at the end our rectangle block is going to look more like a pyramid. Let's try one more. Break down. So a little wider with your feet, and hands drop and go. And we'd like them all to jump at the same time, so it's not a piston-like motion. One more. Ready, go. 3-man blocking moves going this way. So it's the same thing. Break down and go. We'd like all 3 guys to get hip to hip and go square across the net. I think some of the blocking things that we're doing, 2-man moves and 3-man moves, are, hey, you guys, middle blockers, you just call which way you want to go. You can take a breather in between so it's not constant, but just call going left and right. Whether it's a men's team or a women's team, I think that they're the same movements. Whether it's a crossover, whether it's a shuffle, I think you have to look at where your players can touch. I mean, if you have a player that can't reach over the top of the net or reach above 7'4", it's probably better that they dig, or you put them in spots where they're not going to be primary blockers. There's a lot of girls club teams and even boys club teams at younger age that put their biggest blocker in the middle. Well, most of the offense is run on the antennas. That's something that we would probably do, and we do change that. Just guys, why don't you take a breather for a second? That we'll have our middle blockers block on the antenna if they're our best blockers, because that's where we think the attack's